everybody, my name is Kara Brown. I am an author with 8 Little Pages Publishing. I'm also a writer for Otherworld Comics, and I am coming to you this week to talk about rejection in regards to your book. It's a kind of interesting topic in regards to the fact that a book can get rejected for a multiple of reasons, from bad weather to the fact that your plot doesn't work. So before we actually dive into the multiple reasons about why your manuscript does get rejected, I do want to start off by saying that when your manuscript is rejected, it's the manuscript that's getting rejected, it's not you. And sometimes it's hard for you to kind of separate those two things because you did put a lot of time and effort, but just keep in mind that when a publisher says that they don't want your manuscript, it's not them saying they don't want you, unless they actually say they don't want you in the rejection letter, then that's something completely different. But we'll go ahead and we'll start this with the number one reason why most manuscripts are rejected, and it's because you didn't do your research. And I'm not talking about the research that went into your book, I'm talking about you didn't research the agent or you didn't research the publisher. There are plenty of stories that are floating around in interviews from agents and publishers in regards to this, because they'll get a manuscript and the manuscript's not bad, however the genre is not what they're looking for. One of the things that I would definitely recommend for you to do is that when you see that there's a publisher and agent that's looking for manuscripts, to definitely make sure that you are sending it to the right person, because when you do get rejected from an agent or a publisher, you get rejected by everybody that works in there. You can't just send it to the person that's down the hall at that point. And another reason why your manuscript is going to get rejected by an agent or a publisher is because you did not follow the submission guidelines. While I hate saying this, submission guidelines are actually there to see if you can follow directions and pay attention to details. So when you do find an agent or a publisher who's in line with who you want to work with, it's really important that you pay attention to what they're looking for, what their submission guidelines are, and double check that you are following every single one of those directions. Because keep in mind, these people are flooded with entries all the time, and so if they can find some reason to go ahead and, say no to you before they even look at your work, then they're going to do it. So don't give them that opportunity. Your book can also be rejected because the market is currently saturated with the genre that you wrote in. Or at this point, the genre is going out of style and they're not looking for that. They're looking for the next hot trend, because at the end of the day, publishers and agents are looking to make money. When will your genre come back in style? I don't know. You tell me. Now, from a market standpoint, the reasons I just listed make sense. However, those are not the only reasons that will cause your manuscript to be rejected. There are workplace reasons why this happens as well. Sometimes, and I hate saying this, the agent that you have is not liked by certain publishers, so they'll reject your manuscript just because of your agent. Another reason has to do with the staff. Maybe they had a bad day when they came in, maybe there's something going on at home, and they have And unfortunately, individuals are very complex in the sense that when they decide to do something, they can't do it continuously without an unbiased. So things like having traffic on the way into work, no sleep, a family situation can actually change the perspective of somebody when they're reviewing your manuscript. A manuscript that they may have been okay with the day prior may not be very good to them just because of something that's going on in the background. That reason ultimately sucks, and there's nothing that you can really do about it except keep trying to submit your work to publishers and agents. Another reason a publisher will reject your manuscript will actually have to do with you, but not you so much as the way that you conduct yourself online. It's not uncommon these days that when you decide to go and approach somebody either for work or for a project or anything like that, that they will Google you and see what comes up. And the last thing that you want is to have an online presence that looks really bad. If you are the type of person that likes to antagonize others on Twitter or post controversial topics, then don't be surprised if your publisher says pass. And also, your reputation in general will play into if they're going to take you on or not. Because one of the things that some people don't like is the fact that people talk to each other. And if you have gone to several publishers or agents with the request for them to look at your manuscript and they rejected you, and you decided to email them back explaining why they were stupid and they should just accept your manuscript because it's revolutionary, that agent is going to tell other agents and other publishers about you, and if the bigger pain in the ass you look like, the less that people are going to want to work with you. This also applies if you already have a couple of books out and people have worked with you, because at that point in a professional setting, if you can't conduct yourself very well, people are going to learn about these quirks that you have and not want to associate with you. This isn't wrong, this is just how human interaction works in general. Why would I want to spend my time working with a difficult person? So do yourself a favor and try to conduct yourself in a professional and receptive manner whenever you're working in the industry. Now, as much as I hate saying this, there may actually be issues with your manuscript which caused it to be rejected. Now, I have a friend who has his own publishing company out here in Arizona, and he said that the big complaint that he usually hears from the person that has to take submissions is the fact that they get a lot of rough drafts. These manuscripts were not reviewed, they were not peer reviewed, they weren't even edited. Somebody just literally finished writing it and sent it in thinking it was perfect as it is. Please don't do that. This goes back to my earlier comment about how a publisher is looking for any reason to reject your manuscript because they're flooded, and please don't give them that very easy reason. Take the time to edit your manuscript, have some people review it, maybe, do a couple of rounds of editing, rest it, come back to it, and then start to submit it. Another reason that a publisher would reject your manuscript probably has to do with the material that's inside of it. If you have a lot of very controversial material and shock value just for the sake of stirring up the reader in not a good way, they're not going to want to take that manuscript because the last thing that they want to do is piss off a mob. Keep in mind that when a publisher pushes out a book, the book doesn't just represent you as an author, but it also represents them as a company, and they have an image to maintain. Another reason that I have heard that a book is usually rejected has to do with some kind of weird mashup of genres. So for example, if you've got some kind of paranormal romance that has cowboys and space aliens in it, it may sound cool in your head, but on paper and to the reader, it doesn't quite mash very well. Readers are kind of particular in regards to what they read because when they pick up a genre, they already have an idea of what's in the genre, what to expect from it, and that's typically why they generate to that because they know what they want from it. When you take that genre and you mix it up with a whole bunch of others just for the sake of doing it, it causes some confusion and people kind of become disgruntled because that's not the reading experience that they want to have. Now, having said that, I have read some books by very gifted storytellers who were able to take two genres that were like, there's no way that that's going to go together, and they do it, and it actually makes a really good story. I wouldn't advise just taking two things and putting them together just for the sake of doing it. If it fits well with the story and the way that you're telling it, then go for it. But if you're doing it just to do it, stop that. Now, there can be other reasons that an agent will reject your manuscript in regards to pacing, character development, confusing writing, stuff like that. I have actually seen some rejections that come in from writing group because we like to share our misery with each other. And a lot of agents will actually take the time to explain why they're not accepting the manuscript. For example, this was not very clear, I couldn't understand the flow, there are too many flashbacks, your story does not make sense, you have mixed up two genres, do not fit together. But when you get this feedback, I know at first it's going to be like, no, and you want to row and talk to the agent or the publisher and explain about why they're wrong. But what they're doing is actually a favor. They're telling you pretty much how to fix your manuscript. And one thing to actually pay attention to is if they say, when you're able to correct this, please resubmit, that means that they're still interested in your work. You just have to fix the thing that's throwing them off. Now, when I was submitting my manuscript last year, I did not get any feedback. Actually, what I got a lot was, you are very gifted and have a lot of imagination, but the story does not resonate with me. I got that exact phrase almost 30 times. But I did keep at it. I didn't let it stop me. I continued to submit to agents and publishers knowing that at some point I would have one for me. It took over 30 times before I finally got my acceptance letter from 8 Little Pages basically saying that they wanted my work. So you gotta stick with it. Opportunities will pop up. Now this last reason why your manuscript is rejected, it's last because I hate it the most. But one of the reasons that your manuscript is rejected is because you are too much like the current bestseller that publisher has. As much as I would like to tell you that publishers are in it to share unique stories and viewpoints and various storytelling skills, they're not. They're actually there to make money. Many of them have their bestsellers that they like to foster and prosper their career because they are literally bringing in 90% of the income for the publisher. So if you come in with a story and have a voice that's too much like the bestseller, you're going to have two options that happen. One, you'll get rejected because that's obviously competition. Two, you'll get accepted because you're competition, and then you basically won't get promoted at all. Your book will come out and then it will just disappear into the darkness while they continue to promote the bestseller. I would personally take the rejection over that, but that's just my own take on that. Now, I've given you kind of like the major reasons about why a publisher will reject your book. These are not the only reasons, and unfortunately it's because the industry is continuing to change. The publishing industry is unfortunately not a stagnant creature. It continues to change and evolve to meet the needs of the market at the time. And unfortunately sometimes it just takes a single influencer to say, well, I'm tired of vampires, I'd rather read about witches, and next thing you know, the whole industry is looking for books about witches. Not that I'm saying that there's anything wrong with witches or anything like that, but that's just how the market tends to fluctuate. One of the things that will definitely help you out is having some kind of author platform and a following. Have an author website, conduct yourself civilly on social media, enter some competitions, win some little ribbons for your work. There's nothing wrong with that, just adds to your writing resume. And digressing back to the author platform, if you, my viewer, have a lot of experience with author platforms and conducting yourself on social media, I think it would be really awesome if we were able to post some tips and tricks down below for new writers who are just kind of trying to figure out where they're going and what they're doing. Or if you already have a video where you talk about that, please link it down below, just so that way people are able to educate themselves and to see what next steps that they need to take. And that is all I have to say on the topic of why your book is rejected. I'd like to go ahead and just cover a few announcements that are going to come up for next month. So first things first, the newsletter is coming out very soon. Please keep an eye out for it because the winner of the giveaway is going to be listed in there. And if you are the winner, please DM me your address because I can't send you your wonderful prizes if I don't know where to send them. Next, my book is coming out next month on April 26th. It's a very exciting time, and one of the things that I definitely want to do is I do want to produce more content, and what's going to end up happening is for the month of April, I am going to be posting 3 times a week, once on Monday, once on Wednesday, and once on Friday. And since we're talking about recordings, one of the other things that's going to be happening this weekend on Sunday is that I'm going to do a live stream with my writing wife who wants to do a makeup challenge, but she wants to do it while we're drunk. So if you would like to see some women just day drinking and while trying to put on makeup, that will be the show for you. And if you miss it, that's fine, because it's going to stay up there for everyone to see for all time. I'm actually looking forward to it. She's a great person. I can't wait for you guys to see her. The other thing that I'm going to be doing during the month of April is I'm just going to have an Instagram challenge. I'll post it right here for you. You don't have to post every day. I just thought it would be something fun that we could all do. I'll have a link down below so that way you can follow me on Instagram as well. And lastly, if you are new to my channel, you have literally no idea who I am or if I even know what I'm talking about when it comes to this writer nonsense, I have a link down below to my website where you can sign up for the newsletter that I have. And first off, when you sign up for the newsletter, you basically get entered into every giveaway that I have after this month. And then on top of that, when you do subscribe, you get sent a PDF of a short story that I wrote, so that way you can take a look and see if you like my style, my voice, and if I know what I'm talking about. Or if you'd like to send some pennies my way, it costs 99 cents on Amazon. I'll link that down below for you as well. Anyway, that is all that I have for you today, and I hope you guys have a great weekend.